In the village of Ooji, there once lived a woman whose beauty was so dazzling, even the sun seemed to pause when she walked by. Men stammered when they greeted her. Women whispered behind her back, half in envy, half in awe. Children stared at her as if she had stepped out of a folk tale. Her name was Sarah, and she wore her beauty like a crown. But beneath that crown lay thorns. Her tongue was sharper than a hunter's knife. She mocked the poor, scorned the old, and laughed at those who didn't shine like her. Until one fateful day at the crowded market, a single insult escaped her lips, directed at the wrong person. An elder no one truly understood, a woman whose words carried the weight of the spirits. That insult became Sarah's undoing. Her mirror shattered, her beauty rotted, and her pride dragged her to the edge of ruin. Before we dive deeper into this tale of pride, curses, and unexpected redemption, do me a favor, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and share this story with friends who love powerful African folktales. Every click helps keep these timeless stories alive. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. The village of Ooji was not like other villages. Its mornings carried a kind of brightness that seemed almost alive, as though the sun itself wanted to witness the lives of the people. But ask anyone who lived there, and they would tell you. The sun didn't shine brighter because of the sky. It was because of a young woman named Sarah. When Sarah walked through the dusty paths of Ooji, people stopped mid-sentence. Men lowered their voices and adjusted their wrappers. Women pretended not to look, but their eyes followed her anyway. Children tugged at their mother's arms and whispered, "Mama, see? She looks like a goddess from the old stories." And truly, she did. Her skin was smooth, glowing like palm oil freshly poured. Her eyes were sharp and dangerous, like a new blade catching light. Her waist was so slender. The elders joked she could slip through a window without touching its sides. Even the sound of her slippers, soft, deliberate, rhythmic, seemed like music. Sarah wasn't just beautiful, she was breathtaking. But beauty, when mixed with pride, can be more venomous than a snake. Because while people admired Sarah, they also feared her. She had no patience for weakness. If you were poor, you were invisible. If you were old, you were useless. If your clothes were faded or torn, Sarah's laughter would find you like a whip. One morning at the village stream, a young girl named Amarka appeared in her mother's wrapper. She had tied it clumsily, but proudly, for she had no fine clothes of her own. Sarah took one look at her and hissed, "Who allowed this masquerade to walk in daylight?" The words cut deeper than a spear. Arka went home in tears, her pride shattered. Another time at the market, Sarah spotted an old man with cataracts begging for palm oil. His hands trembled as he stretched out a calabash. Sarah threw back her head and laughed. "Who told this one that blindness is a license to be dirty?" The crowd went silent. The old man lowered his head. Nobody dared confront her, not even the chief's wife. Sarah's tongue was feared more than her beauty was admired. Every morning she polished her beauty like it was a weapon. She bathed in goat's milk, rubbed her skin with shea butter, and dressed in clothes that hugged her body like second skin. Her room, decorated with broken mirrors, reflected only one thing: her belief that the world existed to admire her. But pride has a way of drawing storms to itself. It was Eek Market Day, the busiest day in Ooji. The air was thick with the smell of roasted fish, palm, wine, and yam. Traders shouted over each other, bargaining filled the square. Goats bleated, children laughed. Sarah, as always, moved through the crowd like a queen, a basket of smoked fish on her arm. And then it happened. An old woman, bent and wrinkled like dried yam peels, brushed against her by accident. She carried a basket of bitter leaf, muttering to herself. Her wrapper was worn, her steps unsteady. Sarah spun around, her voice like thunder. "Are you blind? What kind of curse are you dragging through this market? You look like sickness that refused to die." The crowd gasped. People froze. The old woman stood still, then slowly turned. Her eyes were white with age, but her voice cracked like lightning. "The day you beg for water, no one will answer you." The day you cry for help, even the spirits will mock you. From this moment, let your beauty reflect the wickedness in your heart. And hear me well, you will never find peace again until you marry the man your pride fears most. Silence spread like smoke. Sarah threw back her head and laughed. You must be mad. Go and wash your soul before you curse others. The old woman only turned away, vanishing into the crowd. But as she left, a strange breeze swept through the market. The laughter and shouting faded for a heartbeat. People looked around nervously. Then, as quickly as it came, life returned to normal. Sarah scoffed, shook her head, and strutted home, her basket swinging. That night, in her room, she sat before her mirrors. Something felt wrong. Her lips looked dry, her eyes dull. She rubbed cream, added powder, even wore her gold earrings. Nothing helped. Her beauty seemed tired. By morning, it had begun. Her once glowing skin sprouted tiny boils. By afternoon, they grew into sores. Her voice cracked, her breath soured. Her waist collapsed, her hips sagged, her hair broke in patches. Sarah screamed and her mother came rushing in. And look at her daughter, and she shouted the only word she could manage. Jesus! Within 2 days, Sarah's beauty was gone. Not faded, gone. In its place stood a sickly shadow of the girl Ooji once worshipped. The curse had begun to feed. Sarah locked herself inside her mother's compound for days. The once proud queen of beauty now lay weak on a raffia mat, covered in sores. Her lips cracked, her fingernails blackened, her skin peeling like firewood left too long in the sun. Flies gathered at her window. The smell of sickness clung to her like a second skin. Her mother wept beside her. What kind of wickedness is this? Who did you offend? But Sarah didn't answer. She already knew. It was the old woman from the market. Those words, until you marry the man your pride fears most, echoed in her mind like drums in a funeral procession. And she knew exactly who the spirits meant. Okoro, the dirtiest, most avoided man in Ooji. He lived on the edge of the village, near the abandoned shrine path. His hut was half swallowed by weeds. His wrapper was always the same, tattered and stained. His teeth looked like they were fighting each other. Smell made women cover their noses and children run. Sarah had mocked him many times. Once, she told the market crowd, if suffering were a man, it would look like Okoro. Now, he was her only hope. At first, she refused. Pride screamed inside her, even as her body itched and burned. But each night, the boils spread. Each morning, the whispers of neighbors grew louder. When she stepped outside once to fetch water, a child screamed, "Mama, look, the witch woman." Stones were thrown. She ran back, sobbing. By dawn, broken and ashamed, Sarah dragged herself down the narrow path to Okoro's hut. Her wrapper was soaked with sweat, her sores oozing, her steps trembling. Even the birds went quiet as she approached, and there he was. Okoro stepped out of the shadows, tall, bony, his chest hollow from hunger. His wrapper sagged dangerously low. His beard was wild, his eyes red and tired. Sarah almost turned back, but she couldn't. She fell to her knees. "Please," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "I was cursed. I must marry you or I will die." Okoro said nothing at first. He only stared at her, his silence heavier than stone. Finally, he spoke. "So you came to beg the same man you once spat on?" "The man you called filth." Sarah's tears spilled. "I don't expect forgiveness. But if you don't take me, I will perish." Okoro rubbed his chin. "I will agree. But only on one condition." Her eyes widened. "Anything. You will fetch water from the stream every morning for 7 days. Cook for me. Clean this place. Sleep here without complaint. If you cannot serve the one you once mocked, then you have not changed." His words struck her harder than the curse itself, but she nodded. "I will do it." And so, for 7 days, Sarah became a servant in the hut of the man she once despised. She fetched water from the muddy stream, carrying it on her sore-covered head, while villagers pointed and whispered. She washed Okoro's tattered wrappers, cooked yam and bitter leaf soup, swept his compound with trembling hands. Okoro never raised his voice. He never touched her. He simply watched in silence, as if weighing her soul. Each night she slept on a mat by the door, shivering. And each night something shifted. Her sores stopped spreading. Her dreams no longer filled with the old woman's thunder, but with faces of those she had mocked: the blind beggar, the girl with acne, the widow with torn clothes. On the 7th morning, Sarah felt different. Not healed, but lighter. Her spirit had bent in a way pride could no longer control. Okoro stepped outside. "Your 7 days are done," he said. But then he added, "There is something you should know." From his hut, he pulled out a wooden box. Inside lay a golden necklace marked with a royal emblem. "I am not just Okoro," he said softly. "I am Prince Emma, the lost son of the king's brother. Years ago, I was cursed to be despised until someone loved me at my lowest. And you, Sarah, have broken that curse." Sarah gasped. Before her eyes, the stench around him lifted. His skin cleared, his presence transformed. And she, too, felt her sores vanish, her face smooth once more. But this time, the beauty carried no arrogance. When word spread through Ooji, the villagers rushed to see. The beggar girl, the market women, the elders all saw it with their own eyes. Sarah was healed. Okoro was a prince. And the very thing Sarah mocked had become her salvation. From then on, Sarah was no longer known as the beautiful one. She was remembered as the daughter of love, a woman who learned that beauty without kindness is nothing but a curse. And that, my friends, is the story of Sarah of Ooji, the woman whose beauty once ruled her village, but whose pride nearly destroyed her. Her tale reminds us, beauty may open doors, but only kindness keeps them open. The poor, the rejected, the forgotten, they might hold the very key to your healing. So choose your words carefully, for a mocking tongue can cut deeper than a knife. If you enjoyed this story, don't just scroll away, tap like, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who believes beauty is only skin deep. These African folk tales carry wisdom richer than gold, and every share helps keep them alive. Until next time, stay humble, stay kind, and keep the fire of stories burning.